tuning in to the online broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Good evening, AfterBuzzers. We are here at the AfterBuzz TV studios discussing everything American Horror Story Season 4. I am your host for the evening, David Schifilliti, joined this week by, to my left, Pegah Rad.
Hi, everyone.
Jeff Thurm.
Hello, hello.
Was that right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Well done.
And Oriana Leo.
Hi, guys.
Jillian and Sarah couldn't make it tonight. Jillian had a family emergency, so our thoughts and prayers are out with her and her family, and Sarah had to work. Wah, wah. This was episode 5, titled Pink Cupcakes.
Double entendre.
Yeah.
I don't see the double entendre, but whatever.
I think it works.
I think it works.
Yeah.
Even if there was only the single.
Maybe it's a triple entendre.
Maybe.
There were 2 pink cupcakes.
Oh.
So
there you
the
go.
third was,
Very good.
I know what the third
Jeff.
was.
We're getting too deep in
Welcome
this.
to the show.
Welcome to the show. It was one of our gorier episodes.
Yes.
It's about time.
It's about
I
time.
did cover my eyes a couple times.
No, you didn't.
I actually did. Believe it or not. And
When?
the hand breaking.
Okay.
That was
was a
the
bit
worst.
much,
'Cause
yeah.
You can kind of I can't imagine getting stabbed, but I can imagine having someone break my hands. I don't know why.
Was that on par with the eye scooping from last
Oh
season?
my god! Yes,
gosh.
yes. But I think I watched that.
I think you watched that too. I don't remember. I enjoyed it.
What do you? Did you guys avert your eyes for anything today?
I think the stabbing, yeah, for sure.
I think the handbraking was the loudest I screamed this episode. But nothing's beating when Twissy's mask came off for the very first time.
Oh,
with
yeah.
his teeth.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
the loudest I've been so far.
Okay.
Good to know.
Good to know. I started laughing during the stabbing. It was more because of Pegah's reaction to.
He was so hot.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
No. The best part is Pegah goes, "No, he was so hot," and then David has uncontrollable laughter. But I agreed.
It was the best reaction.
It was heartbreaking.
It
How
was
long was
really
he
heartbreaking.
in this episode?
2
Minutes.
scenes.
Yeah,
A
minutes.
scene and a
Not
half.
enough.
Not enough. But we will get to that.
Yes, we will.
So the beginning of the episode, Stanley and Esmeralda are at this gala for the modern mutations.
Yeah.
And I'm a little confused. I don't know if you guys are as well, but as to whether or not that was real, because we're led to believe that it's something that's actually happening, but then later on in the episode, it seems like it was just like a fantasy.
Esmeralda does say that's a nice fantasy
Right.
when he's explaining about the seal boy, but they haven't unveiled the twins yet. That's the thing, is that they just unveiled the seal boy.
Right.
They cut to, and she goes, "That's a nice fantasy, but."
I thought it was like a flash forward and then a flash back, and then we're in
actually-
present time. I don't know.
I thought it was a flashback in the very beginning of the episode, and we were kind of getting into a deeper dive as to why Esmeralda and them were even at the freak show.
Right, that's where I was as well. But then when Dot and Bet's heads were revealed, and
Well,
then
that part
got
I
so
think was also really
confused.
confusing because, we hear Esmeralda saying that's a nice fantasy, but then later on in the episode we see Dot and Bet, and he's explaining why one doesn't look as good as the other, or why they have a little bit of damage, and then we have that whole scene with the cupcakes and Bet dying,
Yeah.
and that was all made up fantasy.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it couldn't be real because I'm like, they can't get rid of her that soon into the season.
Yeah.
But
But
I
it's
think
American
just,
Horror Story. You never know.
Yeah, you never
So
know,
it's like,
actually.
maybe-
Can't get too attached.
I mean, we're kind of halfway through.
Yeah,
Almost halfway through.
almost. We're halfway through the first chunk because they
Yeah.
they kind of leave us hanging over Christmas for a
Yeah.
couple weeks, I think.
I was kind of excited for Bet and Dot to be done because I thought it was like such a risky move, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Way to go! Like you're going kind of balls to the wall with the season."
Yeah.
And then they backed out, and it's like, "Oh, you chickened out. Like,
Yeah.
go for it." make something drastic happen.
Well, it might. I mean, we'll get to it later when we see what's going to end up happening with them. So
You never
we'll see.
know.
You never know.
Things can still happen. It's still kind of early.
But I
We're
think
kind of
we're
halfway.
safe in saying that all of that was a fantasy of Stanley's.
Right.
This is what he really wants to happen because he'll have a huge payday.
I agree.
I don't know. Stanley's demise is coming soon. I'm sure of it. If not through Esmeralda, maybe through Elsa. Only because he's sort of this con artist, and he's there, and he comes to her, and he's like, she's curious as to which studio he works with, and he's like, I work with TV. And there was a time, up until recently, I want to say, that being on television as opposed to being on film or in movies, there was like a big taboo to be like a TV actor as opposed to like a movie actor. And only recently did you start seeing movie actors moving into television and being able to do that crossover still.
I think it's a great topic.
It is a great topic.
Because in entertainment, it's a really big deal. I mean,
is.
recently we're seeing these huge movie names move into television, and it's giving television
Huge Oscar winners
Yes.
and
it's giving TV the cred that it's really never had. And not to mention, we're seeing big time actors doing like Sprint TV commercials. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
There's no commercial acting work anymore because the celebs are taking over. And
you used
that
to only
be
have celebrities overseas doing commercial
because
work.
it was so taboo.
Right.
You wouldn't want to cheapen yourself to do a commercial. And now, I mean, all bets are off.
Oh, that's off. That's where the paycheck is these days.
I know they're taking our paychecks though.
I know.
I mean, at first you had like obviously the Matthew McConaughey's on the HBO and all that stuff, and before that, you know, you even had Robin Williams or Halle Berry, but this season you even have like Viola Davis and Octavia Spencer doing TV.
Yes.
And that's a network TV shows. You know, before you have Scandal with Kerry Washington, and I love her, but then you have like this new reinvention of Scandal with How to Get Away with Murder,
Right.
And it's
It's not cable; it's regular network,
exactly.
which is wild.
I
like the commentary. I like the throwback.
I
of
do
Elsa
too.
being like, I'd rather be
Exactly.
burned in hot oil than
Yeah.
I
on
do too,
television.
because people sometimes forget that that was a thing. And a lot of
Oh, for
people
sure.
who aren't in the entertainment industry don't realize that.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that.
And there's a great saying
moment.
too that says, "Movies will make you famous, but TV makes you rich."
Yes.
And so I think that the movie actors are starting to figure that out. But Elsa herself, I mean, she's not making any money at the Freak Show. Only just lately are people showing up.
But we saw even from last season, Elsa has this sort of air to herself, an idea of who she thinks she is, as a lot of performers do. But, sorry.
Her vanity is unreal.
It
like
is.
What she thinks of herself, you're just kind of like, I would have thought that having this horrible tragedy happen to her with her legs being sawed off in that snuff film would have affected her sense of vanity and sense of self.
Well, she's in complete denial about her legs.
Right? She's in denial about everything. Her age.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Sorry, I'm sick, you guys. I'm coughing every once in a while, so please excuse me for that.
But she's clearly intimidated by Bet and Dot. You know, she's afraid that they're going to take over, you know, as the headliner. She was afraid of that. Now she's seeing them in the car, you know, on the way to have their own TV show. And we're getting this, you know, whole fear of her aging and vanity at risk again.
Well, Stanley is sort of looking for the biggest payday, as we see, and he sort of realizes that with Bet and Dot being the anomaly that they are, that is going to be his biggest payday.
Right.
And so he brings them out, which is where we see Elsa, her like getting ready, and she's like, I'm getting ready for my publicity stills. I mean, that's totally not her accent.
That's fine.
It was my version of Jessica Lange without the accent. And then she sees them in the car and they're going on a picnic. And I don't know where I was going with this.
Well, we
lost my train of thought.
see her and her reaction.
Yes,
Right? And
thank
we know,
you.
and like the thoughts start turning in her head about how she's going to take care of this situation.
Or how she's going to get rid of them.
I love the commentary, just to go back to Elsa, when she said that television was the death of art and civilization.
I was just going to bring that down.
I love that commentary
Yeah.
because just as much as we see film, you know, becoming more, I don't know how to explain it, TV becoming more like film,
And film becoming more like TV.
right? I think that for many years people really thought that, and maybe we still do. I mean, I apologize to Kardashian fans, but
I was just going to say,
Reality TV.
Reality TV is the death
I
of
was
art and
literally
civilization.
going to ask you, what does Elsa think of Kim Kardashian? That's literally the question.
Well, she despises her and is terribly jealous.
Yeah, so
right?
Of
she-
all the fame, yeah, of course.
Famous
Elsa
for
will
being
have
nothing.
her own sex tape.
She already,
already
did,
does.
though.
Oh,
she was a
true.
porn star.
She's several.
Well,
Now, Elsa goes back and sings Life on Mars again.
Yes.
Was that on purpose? Because the lyrics, something with, I wrote it down, she's hooked to the silver screen, but the film is a saddening bore. So
Got
it's
that
like,
too.
And
She's
to
right.
sing the same song, I was really expecting a new number.
yeah.
I know you guys are all very disappointed.
Yeah.
I heard that.
I was disappointed, but you know what? From a production standpoint, they didn't have to pay for the rights again to that song, so they saved some money. And it's kind of a throwback to the first time we see her singing this song, and she's in all her glory, juxtaposed with this time she's singing it, and people are throwing popcorn on her, and she's getting booed off the stage, and like you sort of see her
heartbeat.
crumble.
I have to say, too, I felt a little bit vindicated because last episode I was talking about how I know the crowd is going to turn on them at any moment again. Like, they're also happy about Jimmy, but I'm like, I don't believe these people. They're so happy that he, caught the bad guy or whatever. But, as soon as this show doesn't go the way they want it, they're going to throw their...
You have to think about the audience that's there. They've come to see a freak show, and then all of a sudden there's this woman in a blue suit, blue eyeshadow, singing this song about someone on Mars.
Boo.
Right?
Yeah, yawn.
Yeah.
Little do they know, she's probably the craziest person there.
Totally.
And probably the most interesting.
Oh, you know what was great was the song Fame when Elsa was walking out,
it was really good.
ready for her close-up.
Yes. Loved that.
Great choice.
Great choice. Great choice.
Great use of mirrors in this episode, too.
Yeah.
To go from, her vanity, there's how many, 12 mirrors of all her, and then later with the use of Bet and Dot, they shot it really interestingly. So there's a lot of smart choices that, the show is very good at, but I think this episode is the first time we're really seeing, like, a great use of music, great use of, bringing back a song she already sang, great use of mirrors, filming, so... American Horror Story is coming back for me. I was a little afraid.
Definitely.
I feel like it's like this every season. It
Yeah.
takes a little while for you to get into it, but once you're into it, you're in it to win it. It just takes a second. I mean, they're still introducing characters.
I
but
know.
They're still announcing people to
I
be
know,
characters.
because they're not done filming. I mean, that's the thing. But, they always do a really great job, and I'm really excited about it. And that scene with Bet and Dot where Bet was in one mirror and Dot was in the other, I thought was
Brilliant.
Mhm.
No, and you called it. You
Yeah.
were like, brilliant. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes, it was.
So cool. With Elsa standing in the mirror and talking to them how she wants to be their mentor. I mean, she's making this shit up, but she's going to take them into town. And
I like how she said, it came off as being odd when she says, you're going to give them, what did she say? I wrote it down. Something about like a private, covert, whatever the words were, fitting. And I'm like, you used two
yeah.
adjectives for private and secret. Why? Like, why would a fitting with a seamstress does not need to be secret?
well, they're an attraction, right?
Yeah,
they're
but if
going to
a
turn
seamstress-
heads in town.
So my thinking was if she set up a covert and private appointment with the seamstress, wouldn't the seamstress just come to them?
Right.
Like that.
She's
Maybe.
being such a sneak.
But that's where like Dot and Bet, I guess it's more Bet's vanity.
I thought seamstress may have meant someone else that'll like chop and sew in other ways than creating a dress, as in chopping her head off. If Elsa, we'll say predictions.
You save it.
Yeah,
Write it down
save
so you
it.
don't
Yeah,
forget.
Okay.
But I like where you're going with that.
No, but you're right. I hadn't thought about going into town and needing a discreet and private fitting.
Yeah.
I was thinking more like bring the lady in.
I feel like in the 50s it would be hard to get...
A traveling seamstress.
and it'd be easier
To
to
the
go
boondocks.
to them.
But ten-
Now
Well,
that you mention it.
Yeah. We have to put it in perspective sometimes. I don't know. What?
Nothing. I'm just waiting for the
No,
next.
if she was really being taken to a seamstress, the seamstress would come to them. But Bet and Dot just can't think that way.
Well, I mean, they were very cloistered growing up. I mean, they stayed
they don't know
inside.
the
They don't know
difference. Yeah.
Yeah,
their
exactly.
ass from their elbow.
Because I'm just, no, you're right. I'm thinking about this. I'm like, if you were wealthy enough to have someone come and make you your own clothes, like the seamstress or the tailor would come to you. No?
I mean, I guess if you're wealthy
If
enough,
you're wealthy, yeah. If Dandy was doing a fitting.
Absolutely
Taylor would
right.
come to him.
Absolutely.
Right?
Okay.
Interesting turn for Esmeralda tonight. In the beginning of the episode, when she's talking with Stanley, she's talking about how she wants 5% more if she's going to have to live with them. And yet, when she's talking to Jimmy, and she's like, let me read your palm, and she tells him, again, the same sort of spiel that she gave Elsa to let her realize that Stanley's coming, whatever, their whole con, she sort of warns him to leave.
Yeah. Well, I think she cares about him. I think it kind of seemed like she was saying that I want 5% more because I have to live with them to kind of keep her cover that she hates them.
But who's she covering for? Is she covering for the fact that she still wants money, but then she's covering with Jimmy to try and get him out of town because she cares for him on a personal level?
Well, if Stanley knew that she cared, like, he might not trust her.
Right.
So she has to say, I need more money because I have to live with those freaks. But in fact, she's looking out at least for Jimmy. What do you guys think?
I mean, that's all she really has is this whole gimmick thing, this whole scam. She
Right.
doesn't have a real talent, you know. She's
That we know
banking on
of.
this money that we know of. So yeah, it's kind of like do whatever I can to keep this gig and make my money and leave.
Gotta make that paper.
I felt genuinely like she was warning Jimmy.
Yeah.
Like, she cares about him.
She cares about him, and not
see
enough
that.
to like
Not enough to smooch
to
him.
make out with him.
Yeah.
That was disappointing.
Aw.
That was sad.
Did you guys want that kiss? I didn't.
Yeah.
Really?
I did.
I wanted it to go further.
Interesting.
Oh, you wanted to see those lobster claws?
Yeah, I
on
wanted to see them in
Esmeralda?
action. I did.
Well, I mean, we sort of saw them in action tonight.
Yeah,
I
I
mean, we
wanna
went
Desiree.
for Desiree's. I mean, we were all kind of,
Horrified?
That would
to
be
say the
word.
least, we were a little surprised by the scene between Jimmy and Desiree. And Jimmy's sort of like still being hung up on Meep's death. I'm like wondering when
Yeah.
he's gonna like build a bridge.
Oh.
He's got a lot of inner turmoil right now.
He's
And
got a lot of emotions.
He's trying to let those emotions out on with the closest woman.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Mommy issues for sure.
well,
Shoot.
yeah.
Yeah.
but he okay. So
Break it down.
I'm gonna break it down for you what went on in my head. He goes down to give Desiree the lobster claw, and then he's covered in blood. And from what we perceive of Desiree up until this point, we think that she has a penis as well as a vagina. So my first thought is that she cut her penis off. When I saw all the blood, did anyone else think that, or was it just me?
Not that it was cut off, because I don't think the lobsters are that sharp.
No, she cut it off herself, and then
she
when
did.
he went down,
He like reopened his
maybe.
scab.
Yeah.
I didn't think of
Not
it that
even
way.
think of that,
Yeah.
no. I just thought that those are
Nobody?
some.
I was with you when you said that in the room, but I didn't think that myself.
Yeah.
okay.
I was not thinking that at all. I was just thinking
Really?
like maybe the lobster claws are anatomically odd, and she's anatomically odd, and so there's something happened there that like didn't match.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know.
Well, I mean, something happened. She had a miscarriage.
Yeah.
As we find out that she has an enlarged clitoris and is in fact 100%.
Whoa, woman.
Oh, yes, she is.
She's a real woman.
She's a real lady.
It's amazing how
With too much
powerful that
estrogen.
information was for her. She had said she'd never been to a doctor. Can you imagine?
I mean,
And
a lot
Ethel
of these
took her.
people,
Most of them.
a lot of these quote-unquote freaks have never been to the doctor. They've never had a normal...
And God bless this doctor
Yeah.
because he's semi-retired and he's so compassionate, and he's been treating Ethel, you know,
Yeah.
and like I think it's wonderful that there's this like compassionate character that takes care of them. I don't know if it'll still happen after.
Broken hands.
Well,
I know.
it's really sad,
That is really sad.
actually, what happened to the doctor.
Dell.
Dell, ruining the
she
day
made me so
again.
mad.
Dell is just an angry,
He just wants it all.
closeted
I'm
man.
really confused about Dell. Like,
I am too.
He is too.
I mean, a lot of things
Yeah.
are making more sense to me in my head. And Pegah actually called this before we even started screening, before the two of y'all showed up. Pegah and I were sitting down. She was eating her dinner, and she was talking about how she thought Dell was going to be gay.
Yeah.
And I was like, no way. And
Wow.
as it turns out, We saw Del tonight in this sort of underground gay sexy club. I don't know, burlesque bar. What would you call it? I mean, because they had like go-go dancers, but I guess they were prostitutes. I was a little confused by the club, but whatever. He's in this club and he's talking to Andy, played by Matt Bomer, who we all love, and Ryan has a relationship through the normal heart, whatever. And it was actually a really touching scene for me. I don't know about for
Del,
you guys,
or for just the scene in general.
Just the scene in general. I mean, Del, we saw a little bit more of a human side to him, as opposed to this like angry strong man kind of deal going on.
Right. There's so much confusion. Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of closeted men, you know, with all the pent up energy, not being able to kind of express yourself, be yourself. So I feel like some of that might be some of the anger that we see in him so much. So I feel like maybe that has something to do with his backstory, but I can't say that I like started to feel bad for him.
Well, I think it was really telling when he talked about the pain, and he talked about how he feels physical pain. Like, it's not like it doesn't hurt him to do all the things that he does, but that he tolerates it. But
and
that
he said something.
The pain of loving someone you cannot have is
Right.
Yeah, I wrote that down too.
And that's pretty remarkable, and it makes me think that he must have some self-loathing, and that helps him tolerate the physical pain of being the strong man, is because he can't be himself, you know, and he doesn't like who he really is, because he's not going to let Desiree go. That's what is so confusing to me. I know this is very common, but it's confusing to see him want to like abuse her to get her to stay. But he's promising this boy, Andy, he's gonna put him up in an apartment and carry on like this double life.
And like for a second, I thought that Andy reciprocated the feelings,
Right.
but then he's like, "This is just work, and I want you to know it's just work." So I was like, "Wait!" Like for a second, I thought something was going
I still feel
to
like
happen.
Andy was reciprocating,
You think
despite the
so?
fact that he was like, "When I'm here, I'm working."
Yeah.
I still sort of felt like there was a little connection there, maybe.
But Andy even said, like, you're not a lawyer, not a politician. Like, you don't owe anybody. Nobody's counting on you to be straight. Like, he's giving him the out. Like, you don't have to hide yourself for anybody else but you.
And also, Andy has to protect himself because he probably hears this kind of stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And this man does have a wife who's been saying he's going to leave, and he's not. Like, how could he trust him? You know, Del is
Yeah.
expecting something that is literally impossible. How do you earn someone's trust when you still have a wife and a life that you're not willing to give up?
Right.
And you're still paying someone to spend time with you.
Right.
Which I'm like, I'm like convinced that Andy's the cheapest hooker ever.
Yeah, $20 and you can take me home.
I mean, that's not a lot of money.
I know. If we,
Even for the 50s, it's not a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, no, you're right.
$1 to just like sit and talk.
I mean, for Matt Bomer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Come on.
That's a steal.
Yeah, it is.
Right? Whatever.
So we see that Desiree confronts Del. And I was really surprised that we didn't get to see Ethel and Desiree talk.
We didn't get that
We
interaction.
didn't get any interaction.
But they told us about it, and Desiree's moving out. She's moving in with Ethel, and she's going to have the cosmetic surgery. Or so she thinks.
She's empowered.
She's empowered.
She's a real woman. She's
so
standing up to her man.
empowered.
She's doing things her way now. She can be something. She's not a freak anymore.
Right.
She's empowered.
I think that
Get it, girl.
that little
Love
bit, right? That little
it.
bit of information really like
Changed her character completely.
completely.
It's not going to change her life,
Unfortunately.
Like she wanted a baby so bad.
She still can
She's
have
gonna
a
get it.
baby.
She can't from somebody else.
She just has to hurry
Yeah.
up. That's
Yeah. Eggs are expiring.
That's what happens.
Could you imagine though, like getting to, I don't know how old our character is supposed to be, but could you imagine getting to like your late 30s, early 40s, and finding out then that you could have a baby
Oh my gosh.
for the first time? Like that would
Yeah.
completely change your world.
Right.
Like possibility.
Hope.
Yeah, exactly.
I have none.
But why? But she was so angry about finding out that Del is Jimmy's dad.
Yeah.
And it was
Because
just
he kept
interesting.
a secret,
That was why.
and
but
they're married.
She was saying that like you're the real freak, and it's like because he kept the secret, because he hid it.
No, because
His daddy had the lobster claws.
so he's the one that has freak blood in him.
Because
And-
it's genetic.
yeah, because he's the one that has freak blood in it. She just found out he's actually a family of freaks, and she just found out she's not a freak because it's just an enlarged clitoris.
Okay, I'm sorry,
not-
I'm slow. So
too much estrogen.
essentially, the strong man isn't really being a freak if you're super strong.
Right.
But there is a true freak, and he's been holding it over her head that she's a freak.
Right.
She's real, and he's from a freak family, so
Got it.
she is not the freak.
But this is where like the gay thing for Del sort of like clicked into my head as to why he was able to have a baby with Ethel. Got short hair and a beard.
Oh.
He's married to Desiree, who he thinks has like a penis.
Oh my god, I didn't even think
I mean,
it
the
together.
women that he's choosing
have male traits.
have male traits.
Oh my.
And I'm surprised that no one else
I got
Put that
That went
together.
right
in
over my head.
in their world, not
Yeah.
our world.
Good one.
Yeah, that's a good catch.
I didn't get the beard. Yeah.
But he's also like his personality, and at least the character he's developed for himself is that of like masculinity.
Yeah.
You know? So clearly,
Overcompensating.
yeah, he's definitely overcompensating. and he maybe nobody, because he's so strong, no one would have been like, oh, you like manly women.
They're not necessarily manly, they just have male things.
Yeah.
Men things.
Mannish.
Manish. Yeah, man-ish. Stepping out in his manhood tonight, Dandy, I am like twisted in these wires like an octopus. Sorry. Dandy, we see him getting ready for a night on the town, and he's doing these, he's working out in his undies and rubbing oil all over his
Is this the first time we heard inner dialogue from Dandy?
Yeah.
I
Okay.
believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that means something?
I don't know.
I mean, it sort of reminded me a lot of that movie with Christian Bale, American Psycho.
Yeah.
The beginning of that movie where he's like
And he's-
getting ready and
yes.
he's working out
He's
and
pumping up and looking in the mirror and stuff.
Good catch.
talking about how he like doesn't put alcohol in his face because it ages you and stuff like that. That was American Psycho, not American Horror Story. And this sort of like this correlation of the serial killer's inner world and how they perceive themselves, I thought was very interesting, because he said some really interesting things about himself, that he was perfection. He wasn't like the clown. The clown was put into his life to
Show him
show him the way, but he's perfect and
He feels nothing. Remember when Dora begged for her life and I felt nothing?
nothing.
So we know that he's a sociopath in his own words.
totally
Yeah.
insane.
But he also, I thought was interesting when he said, I'm going to be the U.S. Steel of murder. And I actually had to look up U.S. Steel because I was like,
Oh, you looked
that
at
was a big company, right? And there really was no information there other than it's a big ass steel company. But if you just
Okay.
put it into context, that like that would have been one of the biggest behemoth companies at the time that you wouldn't have messed with. It's U.S. Steel. So I was putting it together that like he would be literally the biggest, baddest thing that ever happened to murder.
We learned a lot about him in this episode too.
Me and Pegah.
I don't know if you guys are ready to jump to that yet,
Yeah,
but
yeah. Talk to me.
the fact that we just found out that he is the child of incest. His mom said that affluent families sleep with each other so that they don't risk money leaving the family.
This isn't necessarily new information to the world in general.
But,
Maybe
I mean-
new information to American Horror Story, like this world of American Horror Story to us about the character, but it's something that's happened
Forever.
forever.
Or the wealthy families had, a lot of times there'd be kids with a severe, not anemia, what is it when you have the internal bleeding? Where the sickly child that can't go play because if they fall, they'll start bleeding and hemorrhaging because of inbreeding.
Yeah.
She even says that
It's a badge
their
of
mental
honor.
perversions run in their family due to inbreeding, and that it becomes a rite of passage to have a psychotic in the family.
Yes, and you just sort of deal with it. And I mean, it's something that we've seen throughout history.
What did she refer to? Jack the Ripper was a Windsor?
Jack the Ripper was a
Yeah.
Windsor.
I love Gloria's take on everything.
She's awesome.
She's just like, oh, this is practically a compliment for
Well,
us.
I mean, it's one of those things that, like, I think the English monarchy is just, like, one of those places where, like, inbreeding is so rampant
Still, yeah.
to this day that it's, like, it's something that we can, you know, mirror image.
And she doesn't seem terribly surprised.
No.
We know that her husband died, and we know that he
Killed
hung.
himself.
Yeah.
Do we know that I'm guessing he
Yeah.
killed himself, but
I'm guessing he killed
he
himself
didn't,
as well.
they didn't
Yeah,
quite
she
say.
said he was. Well, I guess they said he was hanging from a tree. I guess we don't know who hanged him.
He said a juniper tree, right?
Um,
He said a very
some kind of
specific type of tree.
He said hanging lifeless from a whatever tree. It was very specific, and I couldn't write it down.
Me neither.
So do we know that Andy's dad was a killer, or
Dandy?
he was just
Dandy.
Dandy. She did say you're like your father.
right?
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that means he was a killer.
a
too.
killer. Okay.
But I mean, it could just mean that they both have mental perversions.
Right.
I mean, that was how I was taking it, but we didn't get enough information.
Yeah,
I
so we
feel
don't
We
like.
know.
didn't, but it seems like Dandy's father had a conscience and was unable to deal with his mental issues and thus offed himself, as opposed to Dandy, who's like thriving because of it.
Yeah.
Loves it.
Yeah, he loves
It
it.
makes me so happy.
I thought it was
I
interesting.
don't know why.
I thought it was interesting. I don't know if we want to go there. That Dandy's taking over the school bus. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he can't. He sees we see him looking at the man wanted sign in the gay club
He loves it.
for Twisty, and he's like, it must make him feel really excited,
He's so famous now.
right?
Yeah, because he wanted to be an actor, and he's like, "This is it.
Wants to be known.
I'm famous."
I love that his excuse for his psychotic behavior is that his mommy didn't let him be an actor and
He needs
express
attention.
himself. So this is just a natural progression.
Always mommy's
kill
fault.
people.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Poor Mrs. Mott.
Interesting thought process there. I have a very polluted brain thoughts.
Tell.
Just in general, as you guys have noticed over the years, my brain is very polluted, and I could see that jump personally from like wanting to be an actor to killing people, which I know doesn't say a lot about myself, but
Yes, but if you do
I
know
can-
actors,
I can
mean,
get there.
there are some people you meet on set that you're like, I'm gonna stay away from you.
Well, it's the whole like wanting to be famous and wanting to be known, wanting to make memory, a lasting memory of yourself, and
Wanting
if,
to be someone else.
yeah, that's a good point.
As an actor, you are pretending to be someone else for a
he's-
living.
And Dandy sort of did pretend
being
tonight.
Twisty.
Yeah, he is
He
being
is
Twisty. There
totally
you go.
taking
He
on
took over
Twisty.
Twisty's personality, and
And
he
his mask.
Oh, God.
Ugh,
there must be
Like,
so
there
many
has to be,
gross
like,
things
must
on that.
smell
Yeah,
so
exactly.
bad.
Ugh.
some infection.
Like mold and
Maggots.
nuggets.
So when
living
Dandy
in
goes
there.
into that bar, does he have his eyes set on Andy? I mean, I would if I walked into that bar.
Well,
but
I think he goes to that bar because his mom says that you can't just go around killing whomever you want to kill. People are going to get missed, and you can't just pick up vagrants. It's 1952, for God's sake,
Yeah.
but
Right.
we'll figure something out. And Oriana brought this up, as did one of our Twitter followers, Carl. It's sort of like one of those things that when a murderer wants to kill people, who do you go to kill?
Yeah.
You go to kill the people that are on the outskirts of
Society.
and people who are runaways
Prostitutes.
and you
Prostitutes
automatically
are
go
the
for
serial
prostitutes.
killer's
Yeah.
favorite
Yeah.
because they are usually have already run away from home.
They're already missing.
Their family already thinks that they're gone. They don't know the difference, and they're not going to be reported missing because
and they're easy prey.
illegal target too.
I just I get it from a TV show standpoint, but I don't know if I believe that Dandy was smart enough to figure that out.
Yeah.
I think he was, because his mom said you can't just go around killing whomever. So he's like, okay,
I'll go kill a male
I'm
prostitute.
gonna go kill some gay guys.
or maybe he's like, I'm so rich, I can afford this $20. Like, here you go. I'll pay you $100. Come with me. We're gonna
I'm
have
not
some
buying
fun.
it.
I do agree. Like, why not a female
Yeah.
prostitute? Like, there would have been a brothel probably down the street, like of the same
He
kind.
also knows the freak show exists. Why wouldn't he kill a freak?
Maybe Dandy has an affinity for other beautiful things.
Ooh, I like that theory.
I like that too.
Also, if we're going with the freak, if we're going for the freak theme, like we know that Dandy, Dandy was attracted to Twisty. Maybe not just because he was a clown, but because he was a freak. So maybe he likes marginalized people. It turns him on in his killing, for his killing juju. I don't
This
know.
was so horrific.
Yeah, it's so sexual.
Yet so
Yeah, it was
sexual.
definitely homoerotic for sure.
Yeah.
Two
Well-
guys in their underwear.
Exactly. Like, why that way? Like,
So you don't
what?
get your clothes dirty.
Oh my gosh.
He couldn't leave a.
That's true. That's true.
And plus easier penetration.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about the other person's clothes.
Yeah.
And then you get a new shirt.
Okay, can we just talk about the fact that Andy wasn't dead?
Oh my god.
He stabbed him and took his arm off, and he wasn't dead yet.
and he was
I
like, "How are
think-
you not dead yet? You're making me upset."
Feel bad.
I think Dandy is seeing that.
Okay,
You
that's
think
what I thought
so?
too.
Okay, that
This
makes
whole episode was
more
messing with our
sense.
minds and what was happening and what was not happening.
Yeah.
I totally
I think
that's...
it's his subconscious being like, "Don't do it."
Well, because what he said was like, "Kill me." Like
Towards the
He was
end, yeah.
begging.
it was begging
but
for death.
That makes way more sense if it was like a hallucination, like a heat of the moment, passion induced hallucination. Because there's no way he was still alive.
yeah,
But-
there's too much.
I feel like there's been people that have been stabbed multiple times who survived.
Well, Elsa with the legs. I mean,
Yeah,
she had her
Elsa
legs sawed
survived.
off.
That's true.
You can survive a stabbing. It's
Okay,
pretty
fans,
easy.
I would love to get your feedback
Yeah,
on
this
this.
is a good one.
Pegah has I think this is a great theory between the two of you about having this a hallucination or not. What do you think?
I guess
Please
Twisty the
tweet
Clown.
us.
Twisty the Clown did shoot himself in the head and still lived. So I guess
Yeah.
theoretically,
Right. Theoretically,
but-
you could survive. And this is where Oriana and Carl made the connection of how he's disposing of the body parts in like this acid, whatever it was.
Very Dahmer-esque.
Very
Yes.
Dahmer.
Yes, and mainly because Dahmer is the only guy I really know about that is famous for the way he handled the body and the body parts. But whether it is a throwback to Dahmer, I don't know. But that was the first thing I thought.
I didn't even catch that.
Or like
So
maybe
good
he's
for
gonna
you.
save.
Yeah,
I'm obsessed with serial killers.
And if he's a serial killer, like normally serial killers save something, like a trophy of some kind. So like I'm curious what he saved of Andy.
Well, it looked like he came home just in his undies,
That
covered
was
in
so
blood.
freaky. Because it was the split screen of Regina, and then it goes away, and he's
Oh,
just
yeah.
standing there.
And he's in a severely psychotic state.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's not like, oh, just took a shower and came home. Like he's
Like,
on another
high.
level.
Yeah.
He's high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he walked
loved
home
it.
like that, and it was broad daylight.
Yeah.
A lot of people could have seen him.
That's true.
That is
loved it.
true. I didn't think about that.
He could be.
He just Ubered at home. Nobody saw him.
Do we think because he kept Twisty's mouth, it could be like his head, or do we think there's going to be, if he is keeping the trophies?
Okay, so I had this is a really silly idea, but I was just thinking it was weird that Andy is Dandy without the D. And I was kind of thinking like, I wonder if he saves his wiener. Just
to save his D.
His
to
D.
become-
Yeah. Andy, Dandy, D. I don't know. I just was like, why name Andy and Dandy? There's something there, but I
Yeah.
don't know what it is. All I know is that there's a missing D.
Sexy. Save the wiener. Well, Gloria this week was epic as ever.
Amazing.
Amazing. She's disposing of the body of Dora's body. Is that her name?
Yeah, Dora.
Dora the Explorer.
I like when like the workers came in, and she's like, "You gotta dig deeper. These bulbs are from Holland." It's like,
Well, I mean,
wow.
she's pretty smart of her way of trying to clean up Dandy's mess. And it's like something that she's had to do his entire life. And pretty clever to get some, just like whatever workers to dig a hole for you.
Yeah.
But
so
it's
that you
not
don't
her
have
first
to.
rodeo with this. If
Apparently
she
not.
did this with her husband. I mean, girl knows what she's doing.
Right.
Yeah.
They go deeper than 12 feet, which is
Impressive.
smart. Very impressive.
And I have to say, the theory that Dora's going to fertilize these bulbs, I'm like, it's a little deep. I feel like I don't know if her essence is really going to rise to the surface.
Well, that's Dandy's, justification of burying her in the backyard and like having her dead and stuff like that. He's a crazy person, but I love him.
I feel like Gloria, for the first time, is starting to examine herself and her mothering.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like, she's finally starting to kind of go, oh my God, what have I done? Like, wait, does this have anything to do with me?
Yeah.
Well, do you think it's like one of those things that all parents sort of go through? Like once their
Absolutely.
children are a certain age and they start making decisions that they necessarily wouldn't be making for their children, they start to blame themselves for the decisions their children make.
Yeah, like where did I go wrong?
Where did I go wrong? What did I do? But I feel like in this case, Gloria, who says to Regina, we got introduced to
Cabaret.
Someone said
Cabaret.
Thanks. To Regina Ross, Dora's daughter, who's at the Barbizon School for Secretaries, which I think is amazing.
That hair, I love
That hair and that suit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my God, so great. That was a really great scene. Where she discusses with Regina that, because I guess Regina and Dandy grew up together in a way, and they played, and she asks if you were around or I was around or whatever.
She asked, what are your remembrances of me as her mother?
I love the way she speaks. I can't with her. I'm obsessed. Someone else talk.
So the whole point is that Regina Ross says, well, I don't really remember you at all being around. It was all the nannies. And you always had a different nanny because Dandy was always biting them and they were quitting. Mm-hmm. And then she just recalls the one time he ever called out to her was when he had a terrible fever. And she sent in the governess and he never cried out for her again.
But he's calling for her now, sort of, in a way. And do you think this is her way of trying to connect with him and try to be a better mother to him?
Yeah, that makes sense after all these years, like just trying to step in finally.
It
but
would
it's too
explain
late.
her desperate attempts of giving him whatever he wants because of her guilt.
Yeah, like the lavish birthday parties and
Trying to make him happy.
yeah.
I love the line Gabrielle Sidibe's character said, this is making me really uncomfortable.
Okay,
was
so
like-
I have to make a note. Gabrielle Sidibe is always playing herself a little bit. Like this character,
Yeah.
I was hoping was going to be a little bit of a departure. Like maybe she might be demure. Maybe she might be polite. Nope. Like same old, like big mouth, like brash. Tell my mother to call me. I'm like, would she really talk like that to your mother's employer? Like it's...
Yeah.
I don't...
as an African American in this
I
time
don't
period, it just
know.
seems really unlikely. But then again, it's...
But Patti LaBelle was kind of outspoken herself, and she spoke to Dandy in a very brash way.
Yeah, but she wouldn't speak to Gloria that way, I don't think.
Right.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, we may never know.
I am not black in the 50s.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
In a
Yeah.
freak show.
So fans, what are your
Yeah,
thoughts?
what do you think about
of how Regina reacted towards
Gloria? Yeah.
or the way she spoke to her? Was it appropriate? Was it not appropriate?
But she's also worried about her mom. So
Well, yes.
how would you react if your mom didn't call? You have a weekly phone call with your mom, and she's made it every single time, and now one time she's not there. Like, you're gonna be a little scared. Maybe she's thinking she was fired, let go, whatever.
She didn't act like it.
She's just pissed. I don't know.
Yeah, she did not cook it.
I love how Gloria goes, she's going to be, indisposed for at least a month.
Yeah, for a month. What is that gonna buy you?
Yeah, exactly. What is...
She can think of something to tell her, I think. At least in a month, she can be like, oh, I let her go.
Yeah.
not my problem anymore.
You can say that today. Oh, she ran away. Like, it just seems like a better excuse.
I think she was caught off guard.
She was.
Yeah.
Well,
So we'll see what happens.
When the doorbell rang, and I won't say who was at the door, but I did expect it to be Gabrielle Sidibe's character. I thought she was the one at the door to be like, "Where's my mom?"
Right.
But I was surprised.
Yeah.
That it was Ms. Elsa.
Can't believe that.
Ooh.
So devious.
I have something for you.
Devious. I have something that you want.
Oh yeah.
I loved this episode.
It was so good.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that needs to be discussed?
Well, just the final beat that Bet and Dot are now. Something's about to happen.
Or something isn't about to
Ugh.
happen. You never know
I
with this
know.
show.
We never know if
it
it's
can
a
go
fantasy or
in
not.
any way possible.
It really could.
So let's jump into news and gossip. I know you guys have things. I know you guys have things.
Well, I'll just say first off that I did
Talk to me.
tweet that link of the Entertainment Weekly interview in which Ryan Murphy admits that all of the seasons are linked.
Okay.
So if you guys
yes.
are looking for it, you can check my Twitter feed.
And fans also have started to speculate about season 5. I mean, we're not even halfway through this season. I mean, we sort of are, but not even halfway through. And people are already speculating about next season because of the hint that Ryan Murphy gave with the top hat, which appears a total of 3 times so far this season. It appeared on a coffee cup that was handed to Esmeralda. It appeared in the diner on the menu. And it appered, there was
The
one...
assistant in the toy shop.
The assistant in the toy shop also had a coffee cup. And so people are out there and they're thinking about things. I don't know.
Theories?
They have their theories.
Do you have the Operation Top Hat?
Yes.
I do, so why don't you talk about it?
So the prevalent theory right now that I'm reading online is that it might be set around 1953 when Operation Top Hat was a secret U.S. Army exercise for the Chemical Corps. This involved people being purposefully exposed to dangerous contaminants and experiments for biological and chemical warfare.
Wow.
It does also go on to say that the chemicals, the main chemical that they were exposed to during Operation Top Hat was mustard gas, which really doesn't do much to you generally. It can cause some
It's nerve gas. It can kill you.
It is nerve gas.
Yeah.
It can kill you, yes. But it was that was the most extreme of the things that happened. My thing with this theory, I don't know how you guys feel, is that it takes place at the same time that this season takes place
which
in.
seems really unlikely.
Which seems very unlikely.
That's true. I see it though. I see like an Area 51, like Hills Have Eyes, mutated,
Okay.
really freaky setting. Because Ryan Murphy did say it takes place in the U.S.
It isn't in space,
space.
that people are thinking about. It's gonna be in the United States.
And there's another little sign with the mushroom clouds behind Jimmy in one scene too. I saw that somewhere.
So maybe we will have some.
Maybe we'll go back a
nuclear
little
issue.
further. Maybe like 40s or
Yeah.
like 30s when they were testing nuclear
Yeah.
bombs and stuff like that out in Las Vegas.
He said the top hat is very purposeful and it illuminates something that you'll be like, oh, you dirty.
Bastard. We can say that here.
So I wasn't. Mine's all starred out, so I
Mine
just
is
didn't
too.
know what the word was.
I just assumed bastard.
If he is giving us a top hat clue this early, there's no way Operation Top Hat's it. There's no way the first guess that people online are saying
No.
is
No.
So
Oh, you're
Operation Top
toying
Hat.
with us.
There was one more besides aliens. Do you have the other one?
Oh, I don't.
The other one was that people are thinking that it might take place in Atlantic City in the 1920s, saying that the top hat is a reference to Mr. Monopoly, Mr. Moneybags, I guess is his name, and it would like go into like the seedy, underground, corrupt
Boardwalk
world,
Empire-esque.
Boardwalk Empire-esque of
Ooh, I like
Atlantic
that.
City, and it would also include the Jersey Devil, which was featured in season 3.
Oh.
Of Coven.
To connect them. even
them.
more.
So
Interesting.
I mean, there's things out there. We want to hear what you guys have to say.
It's gonna just take place in a top hat.
Giant top.
Well, a top hat.
Magic.
On Edward Mordrake's
I mean,
head.
that's
I know.
the only
Right?
thing that I
Two-Face.
think of is magic, but it can't be magic because we already did magic.
Right.
Unless it's starring Neil Patrick Harris as the magician, because he is a magician.
He is a magician.
I would
yes.
watch that.
Who's coming up soon, hopefully.
Maybe it's
It's coming up soon.
Magic Castle inspired.
Let's jump into predictions. I feel like we're there already, but let's jump in.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
So let's do some predictions for next episode, and if you have any with the top hat clue. Oriana?
Okay. We saw the previews, so that's what's kind of illuminating my predictions. But I think that Bet and Dot might actually enjoy being doted on by Dandy. I think Dandy really wants to have a friend, a love. He wants anybody, right? And this might be they might be safe from him at least from his murderous tendencies. He seems like the kind of guy that would go out and kill and bring back, like almost to show, kind of like Twisty was. Like, look what I did. Not that the girls would appreciate that. But I think they feel deserving of love, and it hasn't happened for them. And so this might be a way in which it does happen for them. I don't know.
We're going to get a threesome?
Yeah. I mean, Dot has to lighten up, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. And as far as top hat, I'm not good with theories. Like, I feel like whatever we guess is wrong, so there's no point. Like, it's just, we're never going to get it, people. But when I think of top hat, I do think of old-timey. I think probably turn of the century, or like you said, 20s, like Charlie Chaplin type thing.
I would love that.
That's it.
Okay.
So I want to go back to the seamstress theory that we discussed a little earlier. I don't know if it's going to be next episode or not, but I don't know if Dot is going to be the one to kill Bet or the other way around. I don't remember who wants to kill who. I think
They've each had their turn.
Yeah.
So I feel like Elsa's fear of them taking over as the headliner, as the younger, sexier act. If there's only one of them, they're not special anymore. So if she can kill them before they become more famous than her, or rid of one of them, I think she's going to try to save herself.
Interesting. Any theories on the top hat?
I feel like Ryan Murphy is going to write down every single theory he finds online and then find a different one.
Yeah.
So the more we speculate, the more fuel we're giving him to not do what we think.
Good point.
Totally agree with that.
Good point.
He's gonna put them all in a top hat and pick out what he thinks the season
Hey, I
should
like
be.
that.
We'll say, you dirty bastard.
Stupid jerk. Pegah?
I think Bet and Dot are going to go over to Dandy's. He'll play nice with them for a little bit, and then he's going to get bored like he normally does. And then he's going to be the one that saws them apart.
Ooh, I like that.
Ooh,
I don't
kinda
know.
like that
I like that a
too.
lot.
Like, you guys are boring me. I got to, like, get his killing or whatever, like, murderous thing out, but, like, to
Ooh,
separate
or
them.
one of them they'll use his murderous tendencies to get separated. I love that. Yeah. Yes.
I love that too. I'm with you guys on that completely. As far as the top hat goes, I have no predictions because my prediction from last season to this season was that it was going to be Area 51-ish. And then I thought, of like the communist scare, like the Red Scare in the United States. So I'm sort of like, I'm lost. It's so hard to try and predict what could connect them now that we know that they're all connected, and like,
not to mention, when I was at the
so
premiere
hard.
interviewing everyone, I mean, everyone over and over again repeats like the crazy and wild world that's in Ryan Murphy's head. Like, nobody understands it. Nobody can. So I'm like, why would we even guess? Because the people that work with him think he's insane. He's a crazy genius, but the stuff that he comes up with is
and
just...
they don't even know
No.
where he's going for
Yeah.
the next
Which
season.
I
So
love.
it's like,
They don't even know what's going on in this own season.
right. So it's sort of like, how can we even try and speculate? But I feel like the 1920s would be really interesting to
That would be.
go into. I kind of like that world, and I think it would be sexy and dirty and
Yeah.
dark.
Yeah.
And there'd be lots of drinking. I don't know. I like it. Well, that's our show. Where can everybody find you, lovely, gorgeous, talented people?
You can find me on Twitter at Miss Oriana Leo or Instagram at Oriana Leo. Find me on YouTube. I have some vlogs on running errands in Hollywood. It's youtube.com/the Oriana Leo.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Jeff_Thurm, and on tomorrow night, Hell's Kitchen podcast.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Pegah Rad, and also I host the Forever After show on Tuesdays.
I love that show.
Yeah.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at You Can Call Me Skiff. Thank you, Jeff and Pegah, for joining us.
Thanks for having
This
us.
was great. From everyone here at the AfterBuzz TV studios, we will see you next week. Bye.
Executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff. We would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.